Heartless, Forbidden, Book 1. Written by Suzana Thompson. Narrated by Paulina Schubert. Chapter 9. Jenna texted me after school while I was at work. She had said nothing in class about the partner switch, but I still felt bad about it even though I hadn't wanted to work with Cade. I read her message during my break. She wanted to know when we would be decorating my new room, and I texted her back about going there tomorrow. She offered to drive me, and I accepted. I spent the rest of my break composing a text to Skylar, and I hit send before I could change my mind. It was done, and it was her decision now if she would ever speak to me again. There was no reply from her by the end of my shift, and I was pretty sure there never would be. After everyone else left, I lingered at the edge of the empty parking lot as I read my text to her over again in preparation to delete it from my phone. Skylar, I know there's nothing I can say. I know being sorry doesn't change what I did, but I am so sorry. I know you hate me, but I hope you can forgive me someday. I would do anything to get our friendship back. Please don't hate me forever. I hope you'll give me another chance. Your mother lets you walk home alone at night? Cade's voice startled me so much that I almost dropped my phone. You almost gave me a heart attack, I exclaimed. Because you're not paying attention to what's going on around you, he scolded me. You wouldn't even see an attacker until it was too late. What are you doing here? I demanded. Keeping you safe, obviously, he replied. Since your mom doesn't seem to care about your safety, what kind of mother lets her daughter walk home alone at 10 o'clock at night? It's a main road, I said defensively, and I live right down the street. Besides, not everyone can afford to buy their kid a Mustang. You wouldn't have a car either if your dad didn't buy it for you. I would have had a Porsche at my old school, but Dad thought it would be too flashy for a public school. Get in, he said as he opened the passenger door. I'm driving you home. Why? I questioned. Since when do you care about my safety? What are you up to? About 6'1", he retorted, and it took me a while to realize it was a quip about his height. I told you about my dad, he continued. He's protective about his family, and now he considers you and your mom part of his family. He expects me to watch out for you. Are you going to make sure my mom gets home okay too? I asked curiously. Her car stalls out sometimes. His woman, his responsibility, Cade snapped. Now get in the car. No, I said. It was nice of your dad to send you to give me a ride, but you don't need to actually do it. I'll tell him you did if he asks me. You won't tell him anything if you don't make it home, he argued, so get in the damn car. I rolled my eyes at his dramatics. I've been working since I was 12 years old, and I can take care of myself, so stop acting like I'm helpless. Cade slammed the car door and strode up to me. I was prepared to argue with him, but he quickly got around me and grabbed my wrist from behind. Break my hold, he ordered. I struggled against him. Let me go! He pulled me back against him and started dragging me back into the dark, empty parking lot of the car wash next door to the fast food restaurant where I worked. I kept struggling to break his hold, but he managed to get me all the way to the building where he leaned against the wall and held me captive in his iron grip. He wasn't even winded when he spoke. What would happen right now if this was a real attack? Let go of me, I demanded furiously. Let's assume the attacker wouldn't let go of you, he proposed. What would happen then? I'd scream, I answered in exasperation. You proved your point, so let me go. You should have screamed right away when I grabbed you, he said. Now I've already got you where I can knock you out and do what I want. I would have screamed if it was a stranger, I told him in annoyance. I know all this stuff. But you don't know how to get out of an attacker's hold if he grabs you. I'm not acting like you're helpless, Lexi. You are helpless right now. That was something I didn't want to admit, so I tried to stomp on his foot. He somehow anticipated the move and swept my leg to knock me off balance and maneuver me to the ground. Breaking my fall to keep me from slamming into the cement, he still managed to end up on top of me and pin me to the ground with his body. I was panting from the tussle and from the weight pressing down on me. Get off, I gasped. Admit that you're helpless, he demanded. Fuck you, I panted. Thanks, but you smell like grease and onions, he said before rolling off me. You asshole, I raged as I sat up. Yes, he agreed, but just think how this would have turned out if I was worse than an asshole. I could have... Oh, shit, my car! I hope someone stole it, I yelled after him as he jumped up from the ground with impressive agility and ran toward the street. I hurried to get up and go after him, because being here alone was suddenly creeping me out. I knew there was no one hiding in the dark waiting to grab me, but Cade had infected me with paranoia. He was standing by his precious car as I approached the curb, and he opened the passenger door for me. This time I got in without a fight, but I still glared at him. It's too bad your car is going to smell like grease and onions now, I remarked. Aw, I didn't mean to hurt your feelings, he said in a mocking, apologetic tone, and closed the door. He walked around and got in the driver's seat. I'll be happy to take you up on your offer after you take a shower, though, he informed me. I'd rather smell like grease and onions forever than let you touch me, I retorted. And I don't appreciate the shit you just pulled. Don't try to tell me your dad would be happy about it either. He wouldn't, he confirmed, but we both know you're not going to tell him about it. One secret leads to another. That's lies, I corrected him as he started the car and drove away from the curb. One lie leads to another. Just like one thing leads to another, he commented. Not this time, I stated darkly and glanced out the window. Cade drove in silence for a moment. So, who hires a 12-year-old? He asked. What kind of job can you have at that age? I delivered newspapers, I replied. Mowed lawns, shoveled neighbors' driveways, babysat their kids, stuff like that. Why didn't your mom just get on welfare? He questioned. Why make her kid work? She didn't make me work, I fumed, and we didn't need to be on welfare. We were still living with my grandma. She told me how my dad was always working from the time he was a kid, so I wanted to do that too. Plus it gave me my own spending money. We were already pulling up to my apartment building, since it was a very short distance by car. Cade turned off the engine, and I was struck by the strangeness of this whole situation when my normal response would have been to thank someone for a ride home. Well, what'd you buy? He asked, interrupting my attempt to say something in parting. What? I inquired. With your spending money, he clarified. What'd you buy with it? Oh, I responded. Clothes. Clothes, he repeated in a disapproving tone. That's what you bought. I bristled at his attitude. Yeah, go ahead and make some stupid sexist joke about girls shopping. But you went shopping for your clothes too. The only difference is that you paid for them with your dad's credit card, so don't act like I'm frivolous for spending my money on clothes. He snorted. The last thing you are is frivolous. And you're right. I did pay for my clothes with my dad's credit card. Do you know why, Lexi? Because parents are supposed to buy their kids clothes. It's one of the things they're supposed to provide, just like food and a place to live. I'm surprised you didn't use your spending money on rent. I was fuming mad now. My mom buys me clothes, I just bought extra. Right, he commented in a clipped tone. I see all the extras you have. You've got one pair of shoes, and you don't have any shorts. It's been hot as fuck the past couple of days, so don't tell me you wouldn't wear shorts if you had them. He was correct in assuming I didn't have shorts. I avoided buying clothes that I couldn't wear year-round because I tried to get as much mileage out of my clothes as possible. I also wore one pair of shoes until I needed to replace them. Me being frugal didn't mean my mom didn't buy me clothes, though. I just tried to take as much of the burden off her as I could, so I pretended like I hated shopping. I don't like wearing shorts, I insisted to Kate. They don't look good on me. He snorted again. Don't try to pretend like you spend 1 minute thinking about what you wear. You throw on a pair of jeans and a t-shirt every day and that's it. I know guys who spend more time deciding what to wear than you do. I'm sorry if I'm not feminine enough for you, I declared, but I really don't give a crap what you think. I didn't ask for your opinion and I didn't ask you for a ride, so stay the fuck out of my life. I flung open the door and sprang from the car. Cade caught up to me before I could reach the door to my apartment building. I wasn't complaining, he said. You're natural and real. Yeah, that's the word for it. It's kind of hot. And you're kind of full of shit, I retorted to cover up how disturbed I was by his description of me. Stop trying to get me to have sex with you. It's not going to happen. If I was trying to have sex with you, it would already be happening, he replied confidently. I'm just trying to get you home, so let's go. I don't have all night. You don't have to walk me to my door, I protested. He stepped forward and pushed open the door to my building. I don't have to do anything. Now come on. Seeing that I wasn't going to get rid of him until I got to my apartment, I reluctantly walked past him into the building. He entered behind me and followed me down the hall. Mom and I were on the ground floor at the very end of the hallway. Kate and I passed two guys I didn't recognize, but they both smiled at me. Who were they? Kate questioned in the tone of an interrogator. I don't know, I answered. They were probably here visiting someone. I told you it's not safe for you to be walking home alone, he griped. You couldn't even fight off one attacker, let alone two. They didn't even do anything, I exclaimed. You're worse than my mom. Your mom, he spat out the word in disgust. She doesn't even take care of you. She brought you into this world and left you to fend for yourself. That's not true. I defended her in outrage as I stopped walking and turned to confront him. She works 2 jobs to take care of me. She never even took a vacation until this year. Whose fault is that? He retorted. Maybe if she waited until she got married to have a kid, she wouldn't have to work 2 jobs. You're not married, but you're having sex, I pointed out to the hypocrite. What if you got your girlfriend pregnant? But what if you weren't rich? And what if she died and left you with a baby? How many jobs would you have to work? It's so easy to talk, but... I trailed off because his expression had turned to stone. It was as hard and unyielding as granite, and my words couldn't penetrate it. I would have taken care of my kid, he ground out. He spun around without another word and strode away toward the exit, leaving me confounded about his strange moods.